My daughter gave me a brand new tablet for my 68th birthday. I brought it to my grandson's house to ask how to use it. He's a cybersecurity analyst. He looked at it for 5 minutes, then his face went white. "Grandpa," he said quietly, "we need to call the police. Someone installed spyware on this before you even opened the box." I didn't believe him. I couldn't. It was a gift from my daughter. But 11 days later, when I discovered what she was really planning, I realized that birthday present was never a present at all. It was a weapon designed to take everything I had, including my freedom. Hello, friends. Thanks for joining us today at Golden Vengeance. If this story resonates with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to stay connected with more real-life tales of betrayal and justice. Drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from. We love hearing from our community across Canada and around the world. Quick note, while some details have been changed to protect privacy, the lessons and warnings in this story are very real. Any similarity to actual names or places is purely coincidental. I turned 68 on a Saturday in late October, and the Ontario autumn had already stripped most of the trees bare. I woke up alone in my house in Oakville, same as I'd been waking up for the past 4 years since Margaret passed. The coffee maker clicked on at 7, and I shuffled to the kitchen in my old University of Toronto sweatshirt, the one Margaret always said made me look like a retired professor, which I was, I suppose, 32 years teaching high school history before I finally hung up the chalk. My phone sat quiet on the counter, no messages. At my age, birthdays aren't exactly celebrated anymore. They're just milestones you're grateful to reach. Around noon, the doorbell rang. My daughter, Evelyn, stood on the porch holding a large gift bag with a bright yellow bow. She was smiling, that careful smile she'd been wearing for the past year, ever since she started dating that man. "Happy birthday, Dad!" She stepped inside and handed me the bag. "I wanted to get you something special this year." I pulled out a sleek tablet, still sealed in its box, one of those expensive ones with the big screen. Must have cost her $800 at least. "Evelyn, this is too much." "You deserve it," she kissed my cheek. "Mom always said you needed to get with the times. Now you can video call me, read your books, check your investments, everything in one place." I held the box and felt something crack open in my chest. She remembered. After everything, after Margaret's death, after my retirement, after all the distance that had grown between us, my daughter remembered my birthday. I wasn't in that kitchen anymore. I was standing in our old backyard in Burlington 30 years ago. Evelyn was 8, running toward me across the grass with a homemade card in her hand. She'd drawn a picture of us together, stick figures holding hands under a yellow sun. "I made this for you, Daddy," she'd said, breathless and grinning, "because you're the best dad in the whole world." Margaret had watched from the deck, one hand on her pregnant belly. Our son Michael would arrive 3 months later. Everything was ahead of us then. Everything was possible. The memory dissolved. I was back in my kitchen, 68 years old, holding a tablet I didn't know how to use. "Thank you, sweetheart," I said. "This means more than you know." Evelyn stayed for lunch. We ate sandwiches at the kitchen table, and she asked about my health, my sleep, whether I'd been keeping up with my doctor's appointments. Normal questions, caring questions, but something in her tone felt rehearsed, like she was checking items off a list. After she left, I spent the afternoon trying to figure out the tablet, managed to turn it on at least, set up an account. The screen was big enough for my aging eyes, which I appreciated. That night, I plugged it into charge and felt a warmth I hadn't felt in months. My daughter was thinking about me. Maybe we could rebuild what we'd lost. I had no idea I'd just placed a surveillance device in my home. The following Thursday, I drove to my grandson's apartment in downtown Toronto. Daniel was my son Michael's boy, 27 years old, sharp as a tack. He worked in cybersecurity for one of the big banks. I wanted him to help me set up my email and maybe show me how to use the video calling feature. Daniel made coffee while I explained my confusion with the device. He was patient, the way young people sometimes are with the elderly, that careful kindness that makes you feel both grateful and diminished. "Let me take a look, Grandpa." He took the tablet, started tapping and swiping. "I'll get everything configured for you." I watched him work, sipping my coffee. The apartment was small but tidy. Daniel had done well for himself. His father, my son Michael, lived out in Vancouver with his wife and 2 kids. We talked on the phone every few weeks, but the distance made things difficult. Daniel's expression changed. I noticed it immediately, the slight tightening around his eyes, the way his thumb stopped moving. "Grandpa, where did you get this?" "Your Aunt Evelyn's birthday present." He didn't respond, just kept staring at the screen, tapping through menus I couldn't follow. "Daniel, everything all right?" He looked up at me, and I saw something I'd never seen in my grandson's face: fear. "Did Aunt Evelyn set this up for you before she gave it to you?" "I don't think so. It was sealed in the box." "It wasn't." His voice was flat. "Someone configured this before you opened it, and they installed spyware. Professional grade, the kind we see in corporate espionage cases."
My coffee went cold in my hands. "What are you saying?" Daniel set the tablet down carefully like it might explode. "I'm saying someone can see everything you do on this. Every website you visit, every password you type, every email you send. They can activate the camera and microphone remotely. They can watch you, Grandpa, listen to you in your own home." The room tilted. I set down my mug before I dropped it. "That's not possible. Evelyn gave me this." Daniel's jaw tightened. "I know what I'm looking at. I do this for a living. This software didn't install itself. Maybe it was the manufacturer, some kind of defect." "No," he shook his head. "This is deliberate. Someone specifically configured this device to monitor you before it was wrapped in that birthday paper." I stared at the tablet on his coffee table. It looked so innocent, just glass and metal and circuitry, a gift from my daughter. What do I do? Daniel was already reaching for his phone. "We call the police." Detective Sarah Chen was in her mid-40s with a nonsensical demeanor and eyes that had seen too much. She met us at the Toronto Police Service's Financial Crimes Unit the next morning. Daniel had made copies of everything he'd found on the tablet before we came. She examined his documentation carefully, asking technical questions I couldn't follow. Daniel answered each one with the precision of someone who testifies in court regularly. "Mr. Morrison," she said finally, turning to me, "your grandson is correct. This device was configured as a surveillance tool before you received it. Whoever did this has access to everything: your location, your communications, your financial information, if you've accessed any banking sites." I hadn't. Thank God for my technological incompetence. "What does this mean?" I asked. "What do I do?" Chen leaned back in her chair. "First, I need to ask you some questions. Does anyone have a financial motive to monitor you? Do you have significant assets, life insurance, property?" I thought about it. My teacher's pension wasn't extravagant, but it was steady. The house in Oakville was worth close to $2 million in today's market. Margaret and I had been good savers. I had investments, RRSPs, a paid-off house, and yes, a life insurance policy, $750,000. The beneficiary was supposed to be split between my children, Evelyn and Michael. "I'm comfortable," I said carefully. "Not wealthy, but comfortable." Chen nodded like she'd expected this answer. "Mr. Morrison, I'm going to be direct with you. In my experience, when family members install surveillance equipment on elderly relatives, it's rarely innocent curiosity. There's usually a larger plan in motion." Elderly relatives? The word stung. Is that what I was now? An elderly relative to be monitored and managed? What kind of plan? Financial exploitation? Guardianship fraud? Power of attorney abuse? She listed them matter-of-factly. Someone wants access to your assets, and they're building a case to get it. Daniel put his hand on my arm. "Grandpa, who gave you this tablet?" I couldn't say it, couldn't make my mouth form the words. Chen said them for me. "Your daughter, Evelyn Morrison." I drove home in a daze that afternoon. The tablet sat in a police evidence bag in Detective Chen's office. She'd asked me to wait before confronting anyone, to let them investigate properly. "Act normal," she said. "Don't let them know you know." I parked in my driveway and sat there for a long time, staring at the house Margaret and I had bought 40 years ago. We'd raised our children here, celebrated holidays, birthdays, graduations. Margaret had planted the rose bushes by the front door the year Evelyn was born. My daughter, my firstborn child, the little girl who'd made me Father's Day cards out of construction paper and dried macaroni, the teenager I'd coached through heartbreak and helped with homework, the woman who'd held my hand at Margaret's funeral and told me everything would be all right. That woman wanted to surveil me? Monitor my life? For what? I went inside, made dinner I couldn't taste, and went to bed early. I didn't sleep. I just lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house creak and settle around me. The call from Detective Chen came 3 days later, on a Tuesday morning. "Mr. Morrison, are you sitting down?" I lowered myself into the kitchen chair. "I am now. We've been investigating your daughter's recent activities, financial records, communications, known associates." She paused. Are you aware that Evelyn has been in a relationship with a man named Victor Reinhold? The name was familiar. Evelyn had mentioned him once or twice casually, the way you mention a new coworker or neighbor. She's dating someone? I've never met him. Victor Reinhold has a criminal record in British Columbia, fraud, elder financial abuse. He served 18 months in a provincial correctional facility after exploiting a 73-year-old woman in Victoria, got her to sign over power of attorney, then drained her accounts. Nearly $200,000. My hands started shaking. That's not all, Chen continued. We've subpoenaed some documents. Mr. Morrison, did you recently change the beneficiary on your life insurance policy? No. According to Canada Life, the beneficiary was changed 7 months ago. Your son Michael was removed entirely. Evelyn is now the sole beneficiary for the full $750,000. The kitchen spun. I gripped the table edge. I never signed anything. We suspected as much. The signature on file doesn't match your known samples. Someone forged your name. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. There's more. We found evidence that someone has been making inquiries
about guardianship proceedings in Ontario, specifically about having you declared mentally incapable of managing your own affairs. Mentally incapable. The words hit like a physical blow. On what grounds? That's what we need your help to find out. Mr. Morrison, I know this is difficult, but if we're going to build a case, we need evidence of intent. We need to know what they're planning and why. She explained what she wanted me to do. Continue using the tablet normally. Let them think their surveillance was working. Feed them information carefully controlled and see how they responded. You want me to spy on my own daughter? I said. I want you to protect yourself, Chen replied, before she takes everything you have. That night, I sat alone in my living room with the tablet in my lap. Detective Chen had returned it to me, modified now so her team could monitor who was monitoring me, a trap within a trap. I opened the device and started talking, not to anyone in the room, to whoever was listening on the other end. Been thinking about the house lately, I said to myself, loud enough for the microphone to catch. Too big for one person. Maybe I should think about selling, downsize to a condo, get my affairs in order. The words tasted like ash, but I kept going. Doctor says I've been forgetting things. Maybe I should look into getting some help. Can't manage everything on my own anymore. Lies. All lies. My memory was sharp as ever, my health decent for a man my age. But I was building a character now, the confused old man who needed managing, the vulnerable senior who couldn't handle his own affairs. I was giving them exactly what they wanted to hear. The response came faster than I expected. Evelyn called the next morning, bright and cheerful. Dad, I was just thinking about you. How are you feeling? Oh, you know, getting old. I let my voice waver slightly. Some days are better than others. I worry about you alone in that big house. Have you thought about what we discussed? Maybe looking at some options? We hadn't discussed anything, but I played along. I've been thinking about it. You might be right. Maybe it is time to make some changes. That's so good to hear, Dad. Relief in her voice, excitement poorly concealed. I could come by this weekend, help you look at some things. Financial planning, maybe get everything organized? That would be nice, sweetheart. After she hung up, I sat very still for a long time. Then I called Detective Chen and told her everything. Evelyn arrived on Saturday with a folder full of documents and that same careful smile. She spread papers across my kitchen table while I made tea, playing the role of the forgetful father who needed guidance. I've been doing some research, she said. There are some wonderful retirement communities near here, full service. They handle everything for you. I looked at the brochures, assisted living facilities, memory care units, places where they warehouse the elderly until they stop being inconvenient. And I talked to a lawyer friend, she continued, about setting up a power of attorney, just in case, so someone can help you manage things if you ever need it. Power of attorney, I repeated slowly, as if the concept was foreign to me. It's just paperwork, a precaution. She slid a document toward me. You'd still be in control. I'd just be able to help if you needed it. I looked at the form, looked at my daughter's expectant face.
This was a woman I'd held as a baby, a woman I'd walked down the aisle, a woman who'd cried in my arms when her mother died. This woman wanted to take my life away, one signature at a time. I don't know, Evelyn, this is a lot to think about. Of course, she patted my hand. No pressure, just think about it. We can talk more next week. After she left, I photographed every document she'd brought, sent them to Detective Chen. Then I went to the basement and did something I should have done weeks ago. I started looking through my own files. The filing cabinet had belonged to Margaret. She'd been the organized one, keeping records of everything: insurance policies, tax returns, property documents. After she passed, I couldn't bring myself to sort through it all. I just left everything as it was, a shrine to her orderly mind. Now I went through it systematically, box by box, folder by folder. I found what I was looking for in the back of the bottom drawer, a manila folder that didn't match Margaret's careful labeling system. No label at all, actually, just a plain folder stuffed between old utility bills. I opened it on the workbench, and my blood went cold. Medical assessment forms, pre-filled with my information, but with symptoms I'd never had. Memory loss, confusion, difficulty managing daily tasks. The checkboxes were marked in pencil, as if someone was preparing for a doctor's visit that hadn't happened yet. Guardianship petition templates, Ontario government forms for declaring someone incapable of managing their own affairs. My name was already typed into the spaces. Financial documents, printouts of my bank accounts, my investment portfolios, the deed to my house. Someone had been thorough. They knew exactly what I was worth. And at the bottom of the stack, a handwritten note. I recognized the handwriting immediately. I'd been reading it on birthday cards and Christmas letters for 43 years. Timeline, the note read. Stage 1, establish pattern of confusion, October, December. Stage 2, get POA signed, January. Stage 3, move to file guardianship, February. Stage 4, access accounts, sell house, spring. V says we need to move faster. Dad's health is good. Window closing. V. Victor.
The man she was dating, the convicted fraudster. My daughter had written a step-by-step plan to erase me. I wasn't in the basement anymore. I was in our backyard 25 years ago. Evelyn was standing beside me at the barbecue, maybe 18 years old, home from her first year at university. "Dad," she'd said, watching the burgers sizzle, "I don't know if I can do this. University is hard. Everyone seems smarter than me." I'd put my arm around her shoulders. "Evelyn, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You worked hard to get there. Don't let anyone make you feel less than you are." She'd leaned into me. "Thanks, Dad. I don't know what I'd do without you." "You'll never have to find out." The memory shattered. I was back in the basement, holding papers that proved my daughter wanted to destroy me. I gathered everything carefully, photographed each page. Then I called Detective Chen. "I've found their plan," I said. "Everything, timeline and all." The next 2 weeks were the longest of my life. Detective Chen coordinated with her team, gathering additional evidence, monitoring Evelyn's communications through legal channels, building a case that would hold up in court. I continued playing my role, the confused old man, the vulnerable senior who needed help. Evelyn came by twice more. Each time she pushed a little harder, brought more documents, asked more questions about my finances, my health, my plans for the future. "You seem tired lately, Dad," she said during her second visit, "more forgetful than usual." I hadn't been forgetful at all, but I nodded sadly. "Maybe you're right. Maybe it is time to let someone else handle things." Her eyes lit up. "I've been talking to a lawyer. We could set something up, take the burden off your shoulders." "When?" "I was thinking next week we could go together, get everything signed and official." "All right," I said, "let's do it." She hugged me on the way out, longer than usual. "This is for the best, Dad. You'll see." I watched her drive away and felt nothing but cold. That night, I got a message from Detective Chen. They'd intercepted a conversation between Evelyn and Victor. The recording was muffled, but the content was clear. "He's going to sign next week," Evelyn's voice said. "The power of attorney, everything."
Good. Victor's voice was smooth, professional. Once you have POA, we move to the next phase. Guardianship application, capacity assessment. By spring, you'll have full control. And then we liquidate. The house alone is worth nearly $2 million. His investments another $800,000. Life insurance when the time comes. A pause. Then Evelyn's voice, smaller now. He's my father, Victor. He's an old man sitting on a fortune he'll never use. Think about it, Evelyn. Your debt's cleared. A fresh start. All you have to do is sign some papers. What if he finds out? Victor laughed. He won't. He's old. He barely knows how to use that tablet. By the time he figures anything out, it'll be too late. The recording ended. I sat in my dark living room listening to my daughter conspire to steal my life. My debt's cleared. A fresh start. I hadn't known Evelyn was in financial trouble, hadn't known her business was struggling. She'd never told me. Would I have helped if she'd asked? Of course. I would have given her anything she needed. I was her father. But she hadn't asked. She decided it was easier to take. Detective Chen called me the following Monday. "We're ready," she said. "The meeting with the lawyer, we'll be there." I drove to the law office on Wednesday morning, my hands steady on the wheel. Evelyn was waiting in the parking lot, beaming. "Ready to get this done, Dad?" "Ready as I'll ever be." We went inside together. The office was on the 3rd floor, a small firm that handled estate planning and family law. Evelyn had chosen it. I wondered how much Victor had paid the lawyer to look the other way. The receptionist led us to a conference room. A man in a gray suit was already waiting. He introduced himself as Robert Crane, Evelyn's legal contact. "Mr. Morrison," he said warmly, "so good to finally meet you. Evelyn has told me so much about you. Shall we get started?" He spread documents across the table. Power of attorney forms, banking authorizations, health care directives, everything someone would need to take complete control of another person's life. "If you'll just sign here," Crane said, pointing to a line on the first page, "and here, and initial here." I picked up the pen, looked at the papers, looked at my daughter's expectant face. "Before I sign anything," I said quietly, "I'd like to understand exactly what I'm agreeing to." Evelyn's smile flickered. "It's just standard stuff, Dad. We went over this, did we?" I set the pen down. "Because I don't remember discussing how you planned to have me declared mentally incapable, or how you changed my life insurance beneficiary without my knowledge, or how your boyfriend Victor served time for doing exactly this to another family." The color drained from Evelyn's face. "Dad, I don't know what you're talking about." The conference room door opened. Detective Chen walked in, followed by 2 uniformed officers. "Evelyn Morrison," Chen said, "you're under arrest for fraud, forgery, and conspiracy to commit elder abuse. You have the right to retain and instruct counsel without delay." Evelyn stood up so fast her chair fell backward. "This is insane, Dad. Tell them this is a mistake." I looked at my daughter, at the panic in her eyes, at the woman she'd become. "It's not a mistake," I said. "I've heard everything, Evelyn. The phone calls with Victor, your plans for my house, my savings, my insurance."
I know about the timeline you wrote. I know about all of it. That's not... Victor made me. She started crying. "Daddy, please. I was in trouble. I owed money. Victor said this was the only way. I never wanted to hurt you." The officer took her arm. She struggled for a moment, then went limp. "Daddy," she said again, the word broken now. "Please, I'm your daughter." I thought about the little girl in the backyard, the teenager I'd helped with homework, the woman at Margaret's funeral. "My daughter would have asked for help," I said. "My daughter would have trusted me. You decided I was worth more as a victim than a father." They let her out. I stayed in the conference room alone with the unsigned documents and the echo of her crying. They arrested Victor Reinhold that afternoon at his apartment in Mississauga. He tried to run, made it as far as the elevator before officers caught him. Apparently he'd been packing, preparing to disappear once the power of attorney was signed. The investigation took months. By winter, the full scope of their scheme was clear. Victor had been targeting vulnerable seniors for years, using romantic relationships to find accomplices with family connections to wealth. Evelyn wasn't his first partner. She was just his most recent.
My daughter owed Victor $230,000. Failed business loans, gambling debts she'd hidden from everyone, credit cards maxed out to keep up appearances. Victor had paid off her most pressing creditors, then demanded repayment in a currency he preferred, access to her family's assets, my life, my freedom. The trial was in April. I didn't attend. I couldn't sit in that courtroom and watch my daughter be judged, even if she deserved it. Victor received 7 years in federal prison. Fraud, conspiracy, exploitation of a vulnerable person. His previous record worked against him. Evelyn received a suspended sentence, 2 years of probation, full restitution of the money she'd taken from my accounts, a permanent record that would follow her forever. The judge cited her cooperation with investigators and her lack of prior criminal history. I filed a restraining order afterward. No contact, no calls, no letters. I changed my insurance beneficiary to my son Michael and my grandchildren, updated my will, changed all my passwords and account numbers. Daniel helped me set up new security systems, cameras at the doors, alerts on my financial accounts, the paranoid precautions of a man who learned too late that trust can be a weapon. My son Michael flew in from Vancouver that summer. We sat on my back deck watching the sun set over the garden Margaret had planted so many years ago. "I can't believe Evelyn would do this," he said. "I keep thinking there must be some explanation." "There is an explanation," I said. "Desperation, debt, a manipulative man who made it seem easy. None of it excuses what she did, but I understand how it happened. Do you miss her?" I thought about it for a long time before answering. I miss who she was, or who I thought she was. The woman who planned to take my freedom. I don't know her at all. Michael put his hand on my shoulder. We sat there until the stars came out. I turned 69 alone. No gifts this year. I preferred it that way. The house feels different now. Quieter. I've thought about selling, starting fresh somewhere without memories in every room. But Margaret's roses still bloom every spring. The kitchen still smells like her cooking on Sunday mornings if I close my eyes and remember hard enough. Some mornings I wake up and forget what happened. For a few seconds, everything is normal. Then I remember, and the weight settles back onto my chest. If you've stayed with me this far, I need you to know something. I'm not sharing this story for sympathy. I'm sharing it because it could happen to anyone. Elder financial abuse is one of the fastest growing crimes in Canada. According to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, seniors lose hundreds of millions of dollars every year to fraud, much of it committed by family members. The people we trust most are often the ones who hurt us worst. Here are the warning signs I wish I'd recognized earlier. Pay attention, they might save you. First, watch for unexpected gifts that seem too generous. If someone gives you an expensive electronic device, ask yourself why. Ask yourself who benefits from you being connected, monitored, accessible. Second, be wary of family members who suddenly show increased interest in your finances. Questions about your accounts, your investments, your insurance. These might come from genuine concern, or they might be reconnaissance. Third, notice if someone starts questioning your memory or capabilities. If a relative repeatedly suggests you're confused, forgetful, or incapable, ask yourself whether that's true or whether they're building a narrative. Fourth, never sign documents you don't understand. Power of attorney is a powerful tool. In the right hands, it protects you. In the wrong hands, it destroys you. Fifth, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. The discomfort you feel might be your mind recognizing a threat before your heart is willing to admit it. Finally, know that it's never too late to ask for help. Talk to someone you trust, a doctor, a lawyer, a police officer, a friend. Isolation is the predator's greatest weapon. Connection is your greatest defense. My daughter made her choices. I've made mine. We don't speak anymore. I don't know if we ever will. Some nights I still dream about that little girl in the backyard, the one who made me birthday cards out of construction paper. I wake up reaching for a past that doesn't exist anymore.